for you. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Yeah, this for my dogs from the east to the west side. You rockin' brown and orange with me, baby. Let's ride. Represent the land, let them know. Tell them, here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. This is a game day edition. I'm Allie Heisong, coming to you live from Magnolia, Ohio this time around. Joined with me, as always, out in beautiful Boise, Idaho, we've got Dustin. Dustin, your Browns come away today with a loss in Denver, 29-12. I think anybody that watched it, we can all agree that was not pretty. It was not fun. It's overall sucked. So I'll just turn it over to you. Give me your thoughts.
Well, only one Bronco team was supposed to win this weekend at the Boise State Broncos, and they did do that. And God, they're playing in the Mountain West Championship. Don't know how that happened, but damn, this game just pissed me off. And I'll tell you why this game pissed me off. I'd rather lose. I would rather lose because we lost. But when I saw some of the plays where they were kind of purposely taking people out of this football game, it felt like from Denver in this game. That made me mad, right? Like that just makes me mad when guys penalties, and we're talking flagrant penalties in this game. Like, I mean, the hit to Amari Cooper and DTR. I mean, we can go into it. I mean, I'm okay with losing a game, but when you start taking players out of a game, that's a different type of ball game. And I don't like that. I think you should play clean football, right? And whichever team wins is the best team. Because honestly, DTR was playing pretty well in this football game up until he got taken out of that football game. So, yeah.
All around, period, blank. I think we can all agree on this podcast tonight. That sucked. It wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't enjoyable. I think I agree with you, actually. I think DTR played great, for the most part, given the circumstances, of course, and the injuries he was battling. We'll get into all the injuries here in just a moment because there is quite a laundry list. So we'll go through that. But overall, just kind of a crappy day for a game. And going into it personally, I didn't feel good about it. I didn't like the matchup. I don't like having to play in Denver. I just don't. I just didn't feel good about this at all. But there's worse places to be than 7-4. I don't think that anybody here is going to be hitting the panic button. I think. We're now, an hour post game. A lot of people on social media are saying fire the coaching staff, do all of these things. We're not there, right? Like we're 7-4. We're okay. We don't have extensive updates in terms of the injuries yet, so I don't want to hit any panic buttons there. But overall, just a crappy day. The Browns just couldn't get things going. We'll talk about some of the questionable decisions. I think that this was not Kevin Stefanski's finest day. As a coach and play caller of the Cleveland Browns in terms of decisions and sequences in terms of the play calls, just sucked, period, point blank. So we're going to get into it here. We want to talk about our friends over at K&D. Guys, if you are looking for your next home, head on over to K&D. Find your dream home at K&D. Visit knd.com to get started. That's the letter K, the word and, the letter D.com. Tonight, maybe you're wondering what you should have for dinner. Sit back on your couch from Cleveland Furniture Company and have some Angelo's Pizza. So head on over to Lakewood, get the best pizza in all of Northeast Ohio, and just kick back on the recliner that you got from Cleveland Furniture Company. Guys, they save their customers money by buying in bulk direct from the factory. So be sure to just head on over there. They'll take care of you. So kick back.
Five locations. Yeah.
5 locations. All right, let's get into it. Dustin, we talked about our overall thoughts. You mentioned just kind of some of the dirty plays from Denver. Do you want to elaborate on that? I know you were a little bit heated before we came on tonight. I know that we all watched some of these hits. Now, I want to preface before we have this conversation by saying, we're not insinuating that they are coaching their players to, kill people out there. We understand that this is a violent game, but there were several questionable hits in today's game, and we know that there was a player recently suspended for
twice he's been suspended.
Dirty play. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, again, I always look for patterns and consistency with any type of thing in the National Football League. And just the fact that this is consistently happening on that side of the ball, and the NFL is now aware of it. And there was even comments made post game about this, like, hey, something's not looking right over there. These guys are kind of going after players. And I got to tell you, you don't want the NFL sniffing around your football team, wondering what you're doing on your side of the ball. Because I got to tell you, when there's two Browns players going over to another guy, like, and I call it kind of like the, dude, what are you guys doing kind of look. I don't know if you saw that, Ali, in the football game, where two Browns players were walking over like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is supposed to be a good game, right? And we're supposed to be able to, play to our level and play clean. And you could tell the Browns players like, this is not right. What are you guys doing? Like, seems like you're purposely trying to take our guys out. So I don't like that. I don't like when you go after a quarterback. I don't like when you do those type of things, because when you lead, and here's the thing, when you lead with your helmet and you're coming at a guy, you're purposely trying to inflict harm into that player. If it's a ticky-tack play and you bump into him or whatever, that's, and then it's a bad call. Okay, I'll give you that. It's a bad call. But when you're leading with your helmet, you're purposely going after a guy. I'm sorry, you're trying to take a guy out. Like, you don't lead with your helmet into a guy's body, into his middle section, or the Njoku hit. Let's talk about that one. After the
Yeah.
ball was completely thrown over his head, you hit the guy in the back. I mean, that's how you paralyze a guy. Come on. I mean, there was multiple plays in this game that where you're like, what are you doing? Like, just let the play. And you know what? Here's the thing. Those are unnecessary, right? That's why I question what's happening in this football game. Guess what? It was 4th and 12, and there wasn't a damn Browns player open, and they knocked DTR out. There wasn't a guy open for us. There was no reason for that play, right? Like, it wasn't like there was a guy downfield even open. Nobody was open. You had everybody covered. And oh, by the way, Njoku, that ball flew over his head. Like, these are plays that I look at and go, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. That wasn't one of those where you're trying. It's not a bang bang play, right? You just gave us 20 yards or whatever it was in the football game. So yeah, when I look at stuff like that, that's when I start questioning things.
I had a really hard time with the broadcast today, and normally
Terrible.
I don't like to say, the guys behind the microphone did a really bad job, because we are some people behind a microphone, and it's not easy. It is not easy to do. So I try to be.
They were getting criticized a lot today, though.
Yeah, they were really bad. Specifically in response to some of those plays that you just mentioned, Dustin. The one against DTR, they said several times that, oh, that's a questionable penalty. That's a questionable call. They said that several times. And I think that's discouraging to hear, as we are in this new era of football that really focuses in on player health and safety. And to hear the broadcasts kind of set that aside and say, yeah, this is football. When it's kind of deliberate in the way that Browning went after DTR. And look, I like Baron Browning, former Ohio State guy, but that was a bad play. Shouldn't have happened. Led with his helmet. That's just not how you do it. That's not how they're coached. So I was pretty disappointed in the broadcast as well. And overall, I just thought they're very one-sided, and just it wasn't a good look on Fox today.
No. And here's the thing. I mean, especially when you take a quarterback out and now he's out with a concussion, and we'll get into what that means for the Cleveland Browns moving forward, going to LA next week. Again, you're trying to take a guy out, right? Like, I know there was a lot made of like the Nick Chubb hit, right? It was a low hit, but again, it wasn't intentional. That wasn't an intentional play. When you lead with your helmet at a quarterback's head, that's kind of intentional. When you hit a guy in the back after the ball is thrown over his head, you're kind of trying to let them know you're there, kind of thing, right? Like, it's those kind of plays I don't like in a football game. And I'm not saying that the NFL is getting soft, but those are violent type of hits, right? Like clearly, Amari Cooper was taken out of the football game with that hit.
Mm-hmm.
DTR was taken out of the football game. I mean, that's players being removed from the game because it was such a violent hit on the player. And I got to be honest, I would like to know why they picked up the flag in that one where Amari Cooper got hit. I don't know what happened there, but I don't know if you noticed that they picked up the flag and they did not call a penalty. So
I don't know. So I can't speak to that. I do just want to run through. I want to run through the Browns' injured players. So this is all of the current injured players, not obviously today, but just that either went out today. They're playing currently hurt. Players currently hurt and playing or out. That's hard to say. Saw this on Twitter. Deshaun Watson, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Nick Chubb, Jedrick Wills, Jack Conklin, Zadarius Smith, Anthony Walker, Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson, Juan Thornhill, Marquise Goodwin, Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, I already mentioned him, DeJuan Jones, and Amari Cooper. That is a laundry list. So that's crazy. And some updates in terms of those injuries. Let's see. Myles Garrett, left arm in a sling, according to Jake Trotter. He had trouble getting his shirt off before the sling, so that's tough. He said that he felt a pop in his left shoulder during the game. Not great. So that's really difficult. It just sucks. This
Do you
is
think
tough.
like do you think he dislocated his shoulder? Is that possible?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ruled out today, Dorian Thompson-Robinson with a concussion. Cooper was being evaluated for ribs, which came back negative, so that is good news. And then Jordan Elliott with an ankle. So just hard to win. Hard to win in that type of environment. Hard to win when you are beat up like that, and hard to win also with I think the game plan in place. And I want to talk about that. This is the Denver Broncos run defense was the worst in the league, dead last, absolutely dead last. Browns running backs only got 16 carries today against the NFL's worst run defense. They carried the ball 16 times for 87 yards, averaging 5.4 per carry. Not great. I mean, and I want to go back to the red zone play early in the first quarter, or red zone series rather. We're throwing a back shoulder fade, and I just completely and wholeheartedly disagreed with that. You've got two really good running backs in Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. No, they're not Nick Chubb, but they can still do things for you. And you were going up against the worst rush defense in the National Football League in the Denver Broncos. Didn't even attempt it once. So I have a problem with that. I think that there were plenty of opportunities left on the field for your Browns today. This was absolutely a winnable game. I really don't think that this Denver team is that good. I do think that they are hitting their stride at an opportunistic time for them. But I don't think they're really that good. But I think the Browns left a lot of opportunities out there, even given the injuries, given what happened in this game, some of the decisions by Kevin Stefanski and the execution of the players held this team back. They could have absolutely won this game regardless of the injuries.
Yeah, and you got to think, even with Nick Chubb out of the game early this season, the Browns, I believe, had the number 2 rushing defense or rushing offense in the National Football League. Even with that, with the combination of Ford and Kareem Hunt, so it makes you wonder, like you said, why we. Now, I do have some thoughts on it, and I'm not here to defend Kevin Stefanski, but I think when the Browns got down 14-0, I think Stefanski felt a little bit. I don't want to say tapped the panic button a little bit, but I think he changed a little bit of his offensive thoughts in this football game. And I think he felt comfortable having DTR throw the ball more. Now, I will say this, when DTR did throw the ball and when the players caught the ball, he looked really good. So if I'm that guy and I know we're playing from behind and you got to pass to catch up, I get it. But again,
totally get it. But I'm speaking early. I am speaking early in the game when you did not have to catch up. You're down touchdown. You can play smart football. I just think that there were some decisions that I did not agree with today. And again, I'm not calling for anybody's job. I'm just saying I don't think this was Kevin's best day as a play caller. But to give him credit, last week and the week prior were great. So maybe everybody was having an off day. Sucks to lose this one, but again, there's worse places to be than where the Browns currently are at 7-4. Dustin, real quick, why don't you tell our listeners about Cleveland whiskey?
So Cleveland whiskey, if you feel like you need a little whiskey, this might be the time after a game like this. Guys, look for Cleveland whiskey. They have the Christmas spiced whiskey out there, which is really good. Get that at your local liquor stores in Ohio, or go to clevelandwhiskey.com to find where they do have that, or look for that in your local establishments. They also have the peanut butter chocolate whiskey, which is amazingly good as well. And then, of course, they have all the different other varieties, the underground. But get your Cleveland whiskey wherever you purchase at any of your local liquor stores in the great state of Ohio.
There you have it. Let's give some game balls, and this segment is brought to you by our friends over at
Browns
Circle K.
fans, get ready for a sizzling sensation that's about to heat up your taste buds. Circle K is bringing you a hot deal this football season. Introducing Circle K's Hot Chicken Wings. And the best part, the price is as hot as the wings themselves. Pick up 6 wings for just $5.99 at your local Circle K today. So what are you waiting for? Gather your friends, your family, and anyone else who craves the ultimate wing experience. Circle K, where every deal is hotter than ever before. Here we go, brownies. Only at Circle K.
All right, let's get into it. While we can all agree that that wasn't, our best performance, there's still good that came of it. So I do want to hand out some game balls. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball. Dustin, who are you giving it to?
I got to give it to DTR. Tough place to go in and play. I think the Browns have won there a handful of times in the last 50 years. It was going to be a tough win either way to win there today. He looked pretty poised. He was even shaking his head when the Browns were down 17-12 on the sidelines, like, hey, all right, I got to go back in there and get this. I felt like he was really getting a grasp of the offense and feeling more and more confident, even more than the Pittsburgh game, which, by the way, he was at home. He looked even more comfortable on the road in this game. So my game ball is going to go to DTR and hope he gets back soon because I'm assuming he's going to be out at least a week with that concussion.
Yeah, seems to be the case. We'll update you as we know more information, but that is the case. He is out currently with a concussion. I agree. Look, he stepped up in a big way today. I was very impressed with his poise, his confidence in the pocket. And this is something that we've seen now for, 2 weeks consecutively where he looks good out there. He's going through his reads. He's making the right decisions.
Yes, he's definitely going through his reads. Yes, I agree.
And he looks comfortable and confident, and not only confident in his decision making, but in his throws and in his running ability. So I was very impressed with DTR today. Totally bummed to see him go out. So we wish him absolutely all the best. But I'm going to give it to Cedric Tillman today. We saw a little bit of a breakout performance.
I gotta say, I was like, yes, Tillman is alive and well in Denver today.
He was targeted 5 times, came away with 4 receptions, 55 yards. The box score is not going to show it, but I think that he was aggressive. And you could see the connection between the two rookies and DTR and Cedric Tillman. And that's a lot of fun to see that these two guys have that connection. We're starting to see that kind of grow. So I'm going to give it to Cedric Tillman. While he didn't, his stats aren't jumping out. He created a couple of big plays, some explosion, and you could just see the ceiling on this young player. So I'm going to go with Cedric Tillman.
Well, and you can look at Cedric and DTR back to preseason, right? Where they created that connection early on in those preseason games, and why there was so much made of why we let Dobbs and folks like that go because of how good DTR looked with and some of those other guys in those preseason games. I mean, that just leads to that's the early season.
Agreed.
Preseason.
All right, defensively, I'll give it to you.
I got to tell you who looked like he was all over the place. He came into the game, looked like a king from an island today, dressed like I don't know if you saw it, but JOK came in dressed today like he had the dynasty, like the King's hat on today as he walked into the game today. But
yeah, he's always dressed. He's always dressed very well.
This was like the sandals, like full on, like
not every week.
Yeah, but I was like, all right. And you know what? He played that way today. He played with his hair on fire today. I thought he made some aggressive plays. Got to give it to him today. I kind of felt like he kind of stepped up and kind of was that plug gap today with some of the guys being down today.
Yeah, I agree. It's JOK. Frankly, I don't think it's close on the defensive side of the ball today. He led the team in tackles. He had 12 total, seven solo. 2 tackles, lost 1 sack on the day. I mean, you can't. That's insane. I think that he's just playing so well, and I want to give credit to the player, but also just credit to the defensive line and what they're doing in the run game. It's allowing these linebackers to sit back, read, react, and respond, really. So giving credit to JOK because he's playing his best football. I'm excited to see what his future looks like because he's playing some really good ball. Special teams, you could go with Dustin Hopkins. He stepped up when he had to today. Obviously, one touchdowns, not field goals. Also, I still like what I'm seeing from Rory Porquez. Not his best day in terms of punting the ball, but still able to flip the field in some critical moments. So I kind of just want to split the ball down the half and into both of them.
Yeah, I would go with that. Yeah, it's just we didn't have to. I mean, unfortunately, we didn't have Dustin getting us a game-winning field goal today, but they both did their job. They were consistent, and special teams wasn't a glaring thing that came out. I would like to point out one thing in this game that I think kind of made us get by the A ball. We talked about last week, and maybe I jinxed them. I apologize, but I brought up how clean the Cleveland Browns played with no penalties. And this week, I was like, well, crap. They're doing just the opposite. They're getting penalized left and right. I think that put us in a hole in this football game, Allie. We got penalized so much in this game. We were in 1st and 15s and 1st and 20s and second. Like, it really was the detriment of the football team at times. And I think that really put DTR in a difficult place to try to play from that far back to get positive yards and positive plays. So
Yep.
I think the penalty. I think if I'm the coaching staff and I'm internally looking at my guys, I'm like, look, we can't have those kind of penalties, especially when we don't have the quarterback play that we think we're going to have moving forward. You can't shoot yourselves in the foot. You can't. You just can't do it. And that's when you have almost 100 yards of penalties. That's terrible. That's just not going to work.
Last week we talked about David Njoku and his drops in some critical moments, but he stepped up when he needed to. This week, still not thrilled with what I'm seeing from the pass catchers in terms of ball security. I really want to talk about that on Wednesday, actually. We'll dive into that and really who's to blame, because I don't love it. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't love, not even just like actually catching the football, but the separation, yards after the catch. I think we need to have a deeper conversation about what's happening in the receiving aspect of Cleveland Browns football. But not to be critical here, but I thought Greg Newsome also had a tough day. With Denzel out, he was kind of thrust into a larger role. But man, he had a really, really difficult day, especially after the catch. He was bad in coverage, bad after the catch, tough tackling day, just a tough overall day from Greg. Hate to see that.
Yeah, as I say, and there was a couple plays where I think he got some penalties I don't think he should have, where he turned around on the guy, and I thought it was good coverage. And, some of those plays are just like, that kind of went the other way. It wasn't flagrant. So, like you said, he was put in a tough situation. I think he'll bounce back next week. But with Denzel being out, that's a tough place to put someone like Greg into for sure, in a position like that. Because Russ is going to take his chances, and he's going to throw the ball deep, and he's going to create some PI situations, and that's what we did today.
All right, Dustin, why don't you tell our listeners about Barley House?
Barley House, because if you were there today, got to enjoy the game, you got to have some fun, some excitement, guys. We're also giving away a $30 gift card every single week if you follow us over on our Instagram. Go check out our Instagram at Go Brownies Live. Go check that out. That's over at Instagram. $30 gift card, guys, to go enjoy that and go there any day of the week. But we'll be announcing that gift card by Wednesday of next week for you guys to win that. But great partners down there on West 6th in downtown Cleveland to go enjoy a good time anytime for college football, NFL, anything. It's a great place to go check out. It's kind of like the place to be in Cleveland down there on West 6th.
Definitely. Let's get into the score here. We want to bring this segment to you from the couch. As I mentioned it, if you're looking for any of your furniture needs, you need to head on over to Cleveland Furniture Company. Again, they will save you money. If you need a new couch, a new recliner, a new kitchen table, we got you covered. This segment
is brought to you by the Cleveland.
All right, let's go ahead and get into offensive. Thompson Robinson on the day, 14 of 29, 134 yards and 1 touchdown. It was sacked today. So that's 11. Then PJ Walker comes in 2 times in total, 20-42. And again, I just did not love that game plan. I did not like it. You're going up against the worst rushing in the National Football League in the Denver Broncos, and you really only what did I say 16 times? That can't happen. It is 9 carries for 65 yards. Kareem Hunt 72. Now Kareem Hunt stepped up in a critical men to gain the first down. So these guys are stepping up in big ways, but ultimately, I just don't think that we were running the ball vertically enough. I think that, Jerome, he's never going to be a wide zone guy. He hasn't been. I want to see more vertical attack, especially against a really bad run defense. So I was disappointed in that regard. DTR, he rushed 5 for 21 today. His longest day was 9 yards. We'll talk about that trick play in a minute. I thought that was that was bad. I hated it. And it just feels to me that Kevin Stefanski, it's like he has to run a trick play like once or twice a game. Like he has to. And I think, hang on, I think that's fine if you have to, if that's your thing where you just got to get it out of your system, but do it with the right guys. I don't think Pierre Strong is the right guy to do that. I didn't think Elijah Moore was the right guy to do that with. My dad mentioned it. If you're going to do something like that, give it to your surefire guys. Maybe it's Amari Cooper who has secure hands, or maybe it is, something with more of a tight end approach, tight end screens, anything like that with David Njoku. You can see more of that. If you do have to get cute with it, give it to your elite playmakers. That's my thing.
Well, first of all, two things. The NFL is too smart and defenses are too well coached to be doing stuff like that. So I'm just going to sidebar this and say that works in college football. I'm sorry, that works in college football because you see a lot more innovative speed and guys doing that, right? Those kind of trickery plays. I watch Boise State football. They're known for their trick plays, okay? But that doesn't work in the National Football League. I'm sorry. I'm just going to put it out there. Teams are too well coached, and you damn well shouldn't be doing that with your backup or your third string quarterback. Maybe with Joe Flacco that maybe he can hand the ball off cleanly like that and has done it, I don't know, a billion times in the NFL. But I'm saying with your backup quarterback and your third string, and I saw the same damn thing in Seattle, and I just about lost my same type of trick play. I'm like, what are you doing with your backup and your third string quarterbacks? No, it's too advanced of a play that's going to break it down. And every time he's done it, by the way, with a backup quarterback, it's failed. When he's done it with a Deshaun Watson or a veteran quarterback, it works. Why? Because it's a different quarterback. It's a different guy in there. You can't do it with these guys. I'm sorry. You can't. You can't do it.
Yeah. I don't even agree with having the trick plays. I think as fans, we know that we are very limited offensively, right? We know that. We're out Nick Chubb, we're out, tackles, we're out a quarterback. We know that this is going to be a limited offense.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that we have to be a bad offense. You can still do the things that you're good at. You don't have to overthink it. And I know we've talked about that so many times on this podcast, Dustin, where you say if you're more talented than the other team, you don't have to out-cute anybody, outdo, beat them, outsmart them, just outdo them, outperform them. Excuse me. You have the players that can do it. Find a way to do it. So that's my issue.
I got a fun idea for you, Allie, and you like to kind of dissect coaching. And I looked at somebody today when we were out there with our Browns backers, and you know what they said? I thought it was great. They said 32 NFL coaches think they're smarter than everybody, but really only 5 are smarter than everybody else. And I thought that was really interesting because if you think about it, there are probably a handful that are probably smarter than every other quarterback.
Name them right here, right now, without even having to think about it.
Yes, right. You're not Andy Reid. Sorry, you're not. Like
Kyle Shanahan. You're not. You're not Mike McDaniel. You're not.
But I'm saying, it was interesting that there are 32 NFL coaches that think they're smarter than everybody. Like you said, the cuteness, and there's about 5 that are, right? Like, I think it's like, yes, that is it in a nutshell. I thought it was a great quote. Yeah. So
it is, unfortunately. Okay, let's turn it over to the defensive side of the ball and what they held the Broncos to. Russell Wilson, 13 of 22 for 134 and 1 touchdown. He was sacked one time on the day. Javonte Williams in the rushing attack, 18 for 65. His longest on the day was 15. Samaje Perine, man, he was a force to be reckoned with today. He only carried the ball 7 times and went for 55 yards and a touchdown. Browns fans were all too familiar with that guy. He's played in this division. Russ ran it 11 times for 34. Look, this was a team that took advantage of a gassed defense early on. We knew that the defense just couldn't get off the field, and when that happens, unfortunately, you can't because you're gassed. Now, Cortland Sutton, when I say that name, you think big play. It's because he had a huge day, but he only had 3 receptions. He was targeted 6 times, caught 3 of them for 61. And it just seemed like whenever there was a big play, Cortland Sutton was right there. Marvin Mims, 2 for 24. I don't think the passing attack was anything to be fearful of. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out for your Browns today. Russell Wilson turned the ball over, fumbled it twice, lost it once. Browns, let's talk about their fumbles. Excuse me, let me pull it up here. PJ Walker fumbled it twice, lost it once. Harrison Bryant fumbled it once, lost it once. Elijah Moore fumbled it once, lost it once. DTR fumbled it once and did not lose it, so that's good. But I mean, you had five fumbles on the day. You lost 3 of them, so
yeah. You don't win football games. By the way, this is a nice stat for you. Over 90% of the time when you lose a turnover battle, you lose the football game. So, when you give the ball to your opponent more than yourself on your possessions, you lose football games. But Allie, let's address the elephant in the room. DTR is out. PJ Walker, I do not think is the answer for multiple reasons, and we can do that for our big show on Wednesday. But Kevin Stefanski has a big decision to make tonight and tomorrow morning. Do you think he announces Joe Flacco as the starting quarterback going into LA?
Yeah, I think obviously it depends entirely on the status of Dorian Thompson-Robinson. We know he is out with concussion. Now, concussions are hard. It's not, you can't get David on the podcast and him say, look, he's going to be out 6 days. It's not how concussions work. So
I think he's out a week at least. That's just
probably, but we don't know that. We can't speak to that yet. We don't have that information. So that will come with time. But it all depends on DTR, right? But if it does look like he will be missing 100%, Kevin Stefanski will very likely announce Joe Flacco as the starter. Now, something to keep in mind, they did not elevate him to the 53-man roster today. So that's obviously why you did not see him. You saw PJ go in as backup.
I know a lot of people were like, why isn't Joe Flacco in the game? I'm like,
you saw him there. He had the headset in. I mean, he's still absorbing all of this information. He was just 5-6 days ago. He will be ready when he's ready, and I think that very well could come next week.
Well, and it's already been determined that I think the Browns. Well, I know they're not coming back to Cleveland. They've been practicing at UCLA. They will stay out west. We talked about that earlier a couple weeks back. That's probably makes sense instead of coming all the way back to the East Coast. But yeah, I mean, at this point, here's the thing that you get with Joe Flacco, right? He's not gonna blow you out of the water, but he's 6'5", 6'6". He can see over the offensive line. He can get the ball into the receiver's hands. And honestly, he wouldn't have signed with the Browns if he didn't think he had stuff left in the tank. I can tell you that. He still wants to play football. That's obvious. That's why he signed the contract. And Allie, as weird as this is going to sound, the Browns don't get to the playoffs in orthodox ways. They get there in unorthodox ways. It always happens. It's a COVID year, whatever you want to call it, 2023. It would be really weird to say that Joe Flacco led us to the playoffs. I mean, like that just, if someone told me if there was like a bet, like a whatever weird bet that you could make, like Joe Flacco will lead the Browns to the playoffs this year, like whatever bet, it was probably like $1 million or 10 million to 1 that would be like a prop bet on, like who's going to be the quarterback that leads them? Like, oh yeah, the guy that hasn't signed with any team. It's weird. But I got to tell you, Myles Garrett, a lot of people in that room that are veterans that know that there is some good stuff still left in this team, in this tank going forward. They'd like to sign in a Joe Flacco. Myles Garrett was open. Yeah, this guy has got an immense amount of talent and just experience that you can't replicate with rookies and guys that have had limited play in the National Football League, period. You just can't replicate that. And I think that is the one thing that he at least brings, is that he has the experience in the National Football League for, 12, 13 years? He's played, I don't know how many years. He's 38 years old.
Yeah, he's been around. He's got the experience. Real quick, just want to address this. Let me find it. Joe said, was it a concussion? Yes, it has been ruled a concussion. So yes, he could clear protocol. We'll see what happens. But you're right. It very well could be. It could be Flacco out there. So we'll see. We'll keep you posted. Again, as soon as we know anything, we'll put it out there. Definitely join us on Wednesday. We'll have a huge medical minute.
I was going to say, David, you better start doing your homework now because it's not going to be the medical minute. It's going to be the
No, it's
medical
gonna be
10
medical
minutes.
hour. The medical hour, the medical 2 hours that we'll be talking
This Wednesday's show is brought to you by the Medical Hour.
Yes. And you know what? Let's just give David a microphone, and let him go for an hour, because I'm sure he'll have plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't have stadium mustard in your kitchen this season, you're doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste, beloved from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between. Stadium mustard is a smooth brown mustard, rich in both taste and tradition. It is loved by millions, so be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. And while you're at it, everybody, head on over to Lorello Vineyards. They are a family-owned boutique winery located in the heart of Grand River Valley in Geneva, Ohio. You can get their old world-inspired blend. So they have Northeast Ohio-grown grapes, which appear in most of their wines. Definitely go check them out. They've got award-winning wines. Head on over to lorellovineyards.com to shop now. So yeah, there you have it. This was yeah.
A couple announcements I wanted to make, guys. We have partnered with 21 Fits. If you can go check out their stuff at 21fits.com. We now have our t-shirts, shirts, and our newly redesigned beanie. I thought it turned out really good, but we've designed with some collaborative guys in the Cleveland area. But 21 Fits, they have really cool stuff. But now you can order one of our shirts. It helps us grow and expand the podcast. And of course, you'll get that in a few days after it drop ships and comes to your house. So you can be wearing some of that swag. Another announcement, guys. The Here We Go Brownies will be on the road. I know it's a loss, but we got to move on, put it behind us. We're going to be out in LA, guys. We're going to be with the Los Angeles Browns backers in Hollywood. Guys, I'll drop some comments here. There are some tickets left to the game. They have about 20 if you want to go to the game. They have announced Joe Hayden will be there. Bernie Kosar and Eric Metcalf will be in attendance for the party. More players to be announced for this party. It's going to be exciting. It's $65 a ticket. I'll put all that in the links after this, guys. But enjoy. Come out. If you're out in the LA or on the West Coast, come out. It's going to be a big party. They always do it big in LA because it's SoFi, right? You got to do everything big in LA. It's Hollywood, right? And we're in Hollywood. So let's put this game behind us. Let's have a great game out in LA. And of course, we'll talk about this way more, obviously, on our Big Wednesday podcast.
Yep, definitely check us out on Wednesday. Here's the thing. The Browns so far this season have been really good after a loss. Just to have a little positivity to end the show.
Put a little.
A little positive twist on it. The Browns have been really good after a loss so far this season. So being able to kind of bounce back against Los Angeles is going to be huge. I kind of like the idea that they're staying out on the West Coast, getting acclimated and kind of just used to the time difference and just being out there, hopefully, getting some good work in there at UCLA. So I like it. We'll see how it goes. Please stay tuned. There's a lot of information coming, with the injuries and everything. We don't have it all right here, right now, but definitely stay tuned. We'll have it all for you Wednesday. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, Browns fans, go Browns.